You're probably looking at the title of this video right now and thinking, oh no, he's become an edgelord. And you'd be absolutely right. On a serious note, today's video is about a topic with very minimal gore. I'd say it's nothing overly violent or gory or disturbing. However, the story behind it is in fact very gruesome and disturbing. So this is probably a good point to warn you guys that today's video does include descriptions of rape, sexual abuse and paedophilia. So this is a video with a backstory that I can't help but feel like there is a sense of justice within it that makes this particular video a video where I can turn around and say, well, fair enough. And a lot of you will probably recognise this video by the thumbnail, and I know for sure that when I start editing this I will in fact have a screenshot of this video as the thumbnail, so you probably already recognise it. But for those of you who haven't seen this video before or know the story behind it, I'm about to explain that for you today. I'm going to be explaining the whole story and why it's quote unquote my favourite gore video. The video itself isn't very long or drawn out, and I can show pretty much all of it up until a certain part with a little bit of explanation. It contains a man in an orange jumpsuit, presumably being led to jail after being convicted of a crime, in which two police officers are leading him at either side. The camera follows the man and the two police officers, in which we hit a corner where there's a man standing there in sunglasses and a baseball cap. A fairly ordinary character, until he pulls a pistol out of his pocket and wipes out the convict with one clean shot to the head. And honestly, that's it. That's where the video ends. There's no torture, there's no extra bits to the video. It's just this video of a convict being shot. So nothing too special, right? The backstory will more than likely change the way that you're about to think of this video. In 1984, this man killed his son's abuser on live TV. Even though the man was arrested, he walked away a free man. This man's name is Gary Plauché, and just a back note, I do apologise if I completely butcher the two main names within this video. In February of the same year, a karate teacher by the name of Jeffrey Doucet abducted an 11-year-old boy called Jody Plauché, Gary Plauché's son, driving him to a motel in Louisiana from California. Jody was abducted with a promise of a 15-minute ride in Jeffrey Doucet's car. It's clear that Doucet was considered a family friend, teaching 3 out of 4 of Gary and his wife June's kids karate, as well as being a trusted member of the community, as Jody's mother June obliged to the car ride, sending the two on their way. On the way to their destination via bus. Yes, bus, there was no car ride and a 15-minute journey in Doucet's car, it was a bus ride. Doucet shaved his beard and dyed Jody's hair from blonde to black, hoping to pass Jody off as his own son while evading law enforcement. They checked into the motel in Louisiana, which was a short walk away from a Disneyland. The paedophile then continuously raped and abused Jody, only being caught after allowing the 11-year-old to make a call to his mother from the motel. And this wouldn't be the first and only time that Doucet would sexually abuse Jody. Doucet would begin fondling and sleeping in the same bed with the young boy sometime in 1983, eventually escalating this into full penetrative rape. sometimes twice a day. Pictured here is Jody Plowshare with Doucet. I've censored Jody's face out due to the fact that he was only a child within this picture. Jody was returned home on the 16th of March 1984. Gary would never forget what happened to his son so easily. He'd spend the next few days inside a local bar called the Cotton Club, in which he would be informed by a former news colleague that Doucet would be brought through the Baton Rouge airport at exactly 9:08, and Doucet would of course be escorted through the Baton Rouge airport in Louisiana by 2 police officers. Now the clip you see is taken from a news report, and it wasn't only the news reporters waiting for Doucet to be escorted through the airport, but Jody's dad too. Gary Plowshare, wearing a disguise in the form of sunglasses and a baseball cap, lurking by a nearby telephone, waiting for Doucet's appearance. This is the moment that Gary Plowshare pulled out a .38 caliber revolver and shot Doucet in the head from 3 feet away. Over 20 million people saw Gary Plowshare kill his son's rapist on live TV, including an officer shouting at Gary as he arrested him, asking him why he did it. Doucet fell into a coma and died 3 days later. Gary spent a week in prison over the killing, but then received a suspended sentence for manslaughter in the end, as well as receiving probation and community service. Now Jody happened to see this footage, but didn't necessarily agree with his father's actions. However, the view of the American public was in fact different. The public seemed to support Gary's decision to rid the world of Jody's rapist and a paedophile. For a lot of people who weren't satisfied with the American justice system, Gary seemed to stand out as a symbol of justice. The relationship between the boy and his father was stained because of his actions, but Gary had no regrets in killing a rapist and a paedophile. And unfortunately, Gary died from a stroke in 2014. Jody now has a book in which he hopes it'll help people who were victims or are victims of abuse. So I guess Gary had a pretty normal life in the grand scheme of things. But Gary did more than just save his own son. You see, Gary rid the world of a man who had raped and molested so many young boys that he couldn't even remember how many he had sexually abused. And to add to this, Doucet already had a sexual assault charge to his name. He'd start by taking these young boys out to the movie theatres or take them skating, which is obviously a sign of him grooming these young boys. With all the information that I've given you today, should Gary be praised for the choice of killing his son's rapist? Or should he be charged with the murder of what I hate to call a human being? I think my choice in the matter is pretty clear, and this is why this video is quote-unquote my favourite Gore video. Thank you guys ever so much for watching. Stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.